Welcome, everybody. Today's the 23rd of January, and this is the Sigstore community meeting. As always, feel free to sign in if you'd like to, and we'll do a project round robin, talk a little bit about some outreach, and then if there's anything else anybody wants to discuss, feel free to. We have a few updates, it looks like, so I'll hand it over to William first to talk about cryptographic agility.
Yeah, so I'll do a brief update on the various bits of work that TrailBits has been doing on cryptographic agility and Sigstore. So for about roughly the last month or so, we've been working on various bits of Recore, Fulcio, cosigns, and the Sigstore repository to add flexibility around the cryptographic signatures that are supported by basically each of those components. And so the underlying motivation here is eventually getting to a point where Sigstore can be post-quantum ready. So actually being able to submit end user signatures that were made with some kind of PQ scheme. But to get there, we fixed it to like support some non-PQ schemes besides the NIST curves that are currently supported. So the main status update here is that as of last week, we've merged some changes to the protobuf specs that document a registry of supported cryptographic signatures for end user signatures. So right now, that's pretty common sense stuff. It's EDSA, ECDSA, and I believe a few RSA sets. And then going forwards, we're going to investigate adding LMS and LMOTS for initial PQ support for end user signatures. That's subject to a lot of debate because of what it'll actually look like to actually support those, but that's the current plan. And then outside of the protobuf specs, we've been adding support on the Recore side for accepting the signatures, on the Fulcio side for validating and generating least certs for keys with those, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's basically too many PRs to reasonably link here, but if you go to any one of those repos, you'll see some recent PRs from me or others on the TrailBits team.
I'm really excited about all this work coming in. I mean, this is, it's really nice to just start teasing apart. I mean, one, we just have this hard-coded like SHA-256 throughout half of Sigstore's infra, so it's nice to see that pulled apart. I'm excited to see that we're starting to make some progress in post-quantum. I think that'll allow for some really nice experimentation too. So good stuff. I know I owe you some PR reviews. I'm going to take a look at those today, and hopefully then that will unblock a few other PRs too.
Thank you.
Awesome. Tom, talking about KMS and the signer verifier.
Yeah, so I mentioned this last time I joined, but I have started working on the Witness project. So the Witness project is part of Intoto now, and formerly it was under the TestifySec organization, which is where I started working. And essentially, it is a way of creating Intoto attestations based on like a bunch of different attested types, which naturally, as you could probably tell, gives a lot of similarity between itself and cosign as a tool. Most importantly, and why I'm raising this is because at the end of the day, well, naturally, Witness will want to sign any attestations that it creates in the same way that cosign will want to sign any attestations and signatures that it creates. And so therefore, Witness has its own abstraction on top of the crypto.signer that it utilizes in order to be able to do that. Sigstore, of course, has that same abstraction in the Sigstore repo. However, it's just a slightly different interface implementation to what we have. And there are a bunch of other projects that utilize Intoto that basically have the same thing. It's a different way. It's a bunch of different ways of just doing the same thing, and this creates a few natural issues in the wider community and unnecessary side effects. So, for example, the work that you guys or the project has done on KMS is something that naturally I thought it would be a nice fit for working or sort of plugging into Witness to be able to do KMS signing and verifying. because of the difference in the interface between Sigstore and what Witness has, I can't just plug it in. I've got to like there's subtleties to it. So where am I going with this? The Intoto organization, the Intoto project, we are trying to start a coordinated effort to, instead of let me make sure that I get the right repo. Instead of having like sort of siloed implementations, we consolidate all of this work into like into shared libraries. And this one of these libraries, I believe, is something that's already been used by Sigstore for the DSSE envelope type. The Secure Systems Lab Go Secure Systems Lib, which is a bit of a long old sentence. But yeah, the idea is that we declare a bunch of libraries between libraries inside of Intoto and the Go Secure Systems Lib library, which still needs a bit of TLC. So we can have like one single shared place for like a signer interface and even potentially like KMS implementation as well. And so what I was interested in is whether or not the Sigstore project would be interested in such a coordinated effort into like consolidating that work that Sigstore has and Witness has into creating one common interface into Secure Systems Lib. I'm going to be, for what it's worth, I'm going to be working on this stuff anyway. So if while we're definitely going to, in the Witness project, be moving the signer and verifier into Secure Systems Lib at some point. Maybe the way that we move forward with this is at the point of doing so, consider how with a minimal effort the Sigstore project could plug into that, and also take the best of what Sigstore has implemented and try and make sure that the implementation in Go Secure Systems Lib is as good as it can be. But yeah, I just wanted to get like impressions on that and how people feel about that as a possibility, and whether indeed like as core maintainers you'd be interested in such a thing.
I'll put on my hat as now maintainer of that library. I'd be open to it. So that library is actually interesting because I think going this direction is probably well aligned with where we'd like to go with that library. Sigstore is a little bit of a weird library because it's meant as core logic that's shared amongst all of the Golang Sigstore clients and services, which include now the Sigstore Go library, which is just effectively a signing and verification logic within Golang purely as a client library. I think continuing to pull out more stuff that's useful beyond just Sigstore and it's useful for the entire Golang ecosystem into a shared library that's outside of Sigstore would be good. I'm fine with it under the Sigstore org. I think the name is a little misleading, and so starting to move it elsewhere would be fine. I think what I'd ask is if you can file an issue as you start diving into this a little bit more, documenting where things are different between what's going to be in Secure Systems Lib or what's currently in the Witness project and the way that Sigstore implements it. I suspect these are just going to be like technicalities. I don't think there's going to be anything significantly different between the two. We'll need to just figure out over time how to kind of shift over, assuming we do this, because I don't want to make massive breaking API changes. I also don't want to have to maintain an API that just simply calls out to Secure Systems Lib. That'll probably be what we do in the short term. But I think if you can file an issue, we can talk more about kind of a migration path, figure out if there's any actual technical blockers that we need to work through. But I would definitely be open to it. I think longer term, one thing to talk about would be some of the Sigstore maintainers also helping maintain the Go Secure Systems Lib library. I think we'd had, I know Aditya's a maintainer on that, and also on Go Tough. I know we'd also talked a long time ago about whether it made sense for Sigstore to help with that effort too, given that we were one of the primary users of it. So it probably makes sense that there's just a maintainer from Intoto, a maintainer from Sigstore, maintainer from, I guess those are probably the two main ones, maybe somebody from within the salsa community too. But yeah, thanks for raising that. I mean, I think it sounds good. Was there anyone else who wanted to chime in on that. I know we don't have too many changes going to Sigstore right now, beyond some of the crypto agility work. Sweet.
That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. I just wanted to sort of like get impressions, and there's currently inside of the Interto project, we're doing like a weekly consolidation call. Basically, there's a load of like rewritten, a load of stuff inside of Interto written a bunch of different ways. We're trying to consolidate it all down. So I'll raise in that call at the end of the week that you guys seem interested in that endeavor. And I'll as you said, like I think it's mostly like small like differences in the way that the interfaces is defined rather than like big breaking issues. But yeah, when we get to the point of implementing it, I'll like sort of try and channel it side by side whilst looking at Sigstore and what you guys have.
That sounds great. Alrighty. I don't have any updates for Recore and Fulcio. The only thing I'll mention for Cosign is I did get a ping, I think, last week about asking for a new release to be cut. I think we just have a bunch of bug fixes. I think there's 1 or 2 open PRs I'd like to get in first, and then I'll cut a release of Cosign shortly. All right. Clients. William, did you want to give an update on Sigstore Python?
Yeah, just a brief update on what we're doing on Sigstore Python. So last week we emerged initial API support for verifying Dizzy signatures and the accompanying Dizzy Recore type. That is part of a sort of like long-standing issue to get support for types other than hash record inside of Sigstore Python. Accompanying that, we also merged some support for pre-hashed signatures. So the idea here is that rather than having to pass in the full payload, you can explicitly mark an input as pre-hashed, and then for signature schemes that support pre-hashing, we'll allow you to generate a hashed report with that pre-hash instead. So those are primarily API changes. We don't have a schedule yet for a 3.0 release for Sigstore Python, but when we do, these two will be part of it, along with Sigstore, along with Dizzy signing to accompany the verification part.
Awesome. Excited to see that land. I think that'll be a nice addition. I forget where else there's Dizzy support. I know Cosign has it, and Sigstore.js has it. Don't remember if Java does.
Just those 3. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well, then I'm really excited to see that land. I'll give a quick update on the Sigstore Go. Did a little bit of triaging of some open issues, went through the code, filed a bunch of starter issues. Nothing blocking. One of the things I'll bring up in this month's Sigstore Go meeting is if we're at the point where we can cut a initial v0.1 release. I think it'll also be helpful. There was a bug recently that I wanted to call out where the Recore verification was trusting an unsigned timestamp. Because we don't actually have a version out. If anybody's using this library, Dependabot's not going to pick up that fix. So I think we're about at the point where we can probably cut an initial release of it for anyone who's using it. So hopefully that'll be coming soon. If anyone's interested in diving into Sigstore Go. Also, I think we have a lot of good starter issues now. I'm continuing to file a few, but again, there's nothing critical that's blocking. Infrastructure. Don't think there were any updates. Paul, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I feel like I'm still playing catch up to the holidays. So if there's anything you can think of, but I was cruising through the pull requests and I don't see anything for public updates.
I will mention one. We've been doing some work recreating the staging tough root using a new framework, Tough on CI. So if you look at the root signing repo, you'll see a lot of custom scripts to handle repository management, orchestrating root signing events. Now all of this is centralized in a repository called Tough on CI, which lives under the Tough organization. The repo I just linked here is using that automation to now sign staging. We have not yet released this metadata to our GCS bucket. So if your client is using staging, you're still relying on our current route. This week we had our first successful automated signing, which was fantastic to see. If you're familiar at all with the way we set up our Tough repo for staging, it's a bit of a hack. I'm okay saying that because I set this up a little while ago. We just kind of used the key that is hard coded somewhere, and it's not ideal. Now we're going to use a KMS key. It's going to look a lot more like production. It should give us, it's also nice to be able to test out these changes before we actually set up some of this automation in production. So feel free to take a look. Soon we'll set up some of the GCS automation so that we also push the Tough metadata to our staging bucket, and then we'll also start working towards getting root signing moved over to Tough on CI. So exciting changes to come. And I think to round this out, we don't have any doc updates. So diving into outreach and events. Last on this list, but I'll just call this out because I don't think there's any updates. Open source North America, that's going to be in Seattle mid-April. CFP just closed for that. I know there were some submitted talks with Sigstore. I'll be at the event, but we'll learn soon what was accepted. I think in a couple weeks. Cloud Native Security Con was just announced. This is, I believe, the second version of it. It's been going on for a little bit as a co-located event, but as a dedicated event, this will be the second time. It'll also be in Seattle, end of June. I'm also hoping to attend, so excited to see folks there if anyone's going to be attending. The other one is co-located with Open Source Summit, which is now SOSS, I think it's Secure Open Source Community Day. It was previously known as Open SSF Day. This will be a co-located event, I guess the day before OSSNA starts. Again, I think this will be a nice opportunity to kind of bring the community together to chat about some of the projects within the Open SSF. The CFP is open for that. FOSDEM, William, did you want to mention anything?
Yeah, just wanted to say I'll be there on behalf of Trail of Bits and on behalf of Homebrew. So if anybody else is going, I'll see you there.
I'll be there.
Awesome.
I was just looking at my train tickets. Yeah, it'd be good to meet up or something if you're going to be there.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll be at the Homebrew booth pretty much the whole time. So.
Oh, sorry, the Homebrew booth.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, awesome. I'll check it out.
Brussels sounds very nice. Oh, I guess one other one that's in Europe that wasn't mentioned, KubeCon, that'll be in Paris in March. I think from Google, we'll probably have some folks attending, but I don't know specifically within open source. All righty. Well, I'm very excited. That's a good list. That's only half this year. We've got a lot of exciting events coming up. Sweet. Well, this now we're at the point of any other business. Was there anything else anyone wanted to chat about? All righty. Well, hope everybody has a great week. We'll chat again in 2 weeks.
Everyone.
Thanks, everyone.